Hey everyone, Cool Kid here. Told you I'd be back soon. Ish. For those who are new, get ready for some rapid-fire Warframe trivia. For those of you who have watched these before, I see that Stockholm Syndrome is setting in. Spoiler warning for, I don't know, literally everything at this point, and without further ado, let's rock. When in the login screen, various benchmarks can be accessed by entering the following things in the email field: corpus.outbreak, Grineer.outbreak, Crossfire, and Hostile.takeover. These function as performance and stress tests, but are also just kinda cool to watch. You can shoot shield lancers through the viewport on their shield. Having both Arcane Blessing and Equilibrium equipped lets you pick up energy orbs infinitely, even though they don't contribute to Blessing. The bubbles and explosions from Compressa are functionally silent. Trying to leave a mission through the pause menu when Stalker is invading will instead close the pause menu. I'm gonna be honest, this is awesome and sounds like some serious creepypasta shit. There are fish in this tank in the Underground Mall entrance in Helvania missions, and they seem to use the same appearance as the fish from the Soaker ephemera. If you use a roll or bullet jump to break Mania's grapple attack, he'll be stuck ragdolling and never get up, but even beyond that, the normal ragdoll kill timer won't ever trigger, allowing him to nap infinitely. If you have Equilibrium and Energizing Shot equipped, you can shoot energy orbs to revive yourself when downed. The targeted Medicine Hex Factor upgrade also allows you to do this. Killing a Whisper mini-boss who has copied a Gemini skin from a player will cause them to play one of the skin's downed lines when killed. Entering the Helminth room with the Drifter or Operator triggers unique dialogue. You can rotate all adversaries in their previews, so Liches, Sisters, and even the entirety of the Coda band, which is kinda odd. Using the Arcwing slingshot at the Coda stage lets you smash through a window, but if you don't use the slingshot, you'll just emerge from the floor. The Sands of Mars ephemera will affect nearly all of your cosmetics, including things that ephemeras don't normally affect, like Cyandanas and Signas. Bursa's mind controlled by Nyx can down the Razorback just like hacked ones. Sevagoth's Shadow has an energy channel that can't be edited unless you copy Sevagoth's colors, which is also the only way to color certain ephemeras. The vortexes spawned by Styanax's Javelin can pick up pieces of Orican laser plates. If you repeatedly try to Alt F4 out of the game, the confirmation prompt will stack on top of itself. Garuda Prime's player icon uses different primary and tertiary colors than her normal model. Somewhat related, Gyre's minimap icon shows her default helmet, but her player list icon shows her alternate helmet. Archon hunts show this mission objective as Extermination, while it's normally just called Exterminate. Pausing while in the Captura FreeCam shows that the pause menu is attached to the Warframe itself. The Boulder Room on Lua has this weird one-way window, which is probably a bug, honestly. Remote observers work in bases of operations if you have them on a hotkey. Dante's Word Warden will trigger on tranq rifle shots, which can outright assassinate conservation targets. The Captura camera can push around roller floofs. Mirage clones duplicate the Telos Boltasis slide gimmick, making the push and pull effects even stronger. Grineer doors actually have keypads on their side. How have I never noticed this? I've been playing this game for 11 years. Hitting an invincible enemy not only shows a gray damage number of 0, but it also shows a unique, triangular gray hit marker. Fishing spears have a crit chance, which might not be super obscure, but it is really weird if you ask me. When Hildryn is in Aegis Storm, these shield pads emerge from her shoulders, which use the same model as her Balefire. They change based on whether or not the Prime or base skin is equipped, but they don't account for the deluxe skin, and even stranger, whenever Hildryn dashes, they will always become the Prime model. Incarnon weapons that have been renamed will show the new name in challenge pop-ups. Oh yeah, for those of you who don't know, you can rename pretty much any weapon at Zood and Hawk. When viewing the mods section of the Codex, you can search by drop location, which is kinda nice. If you're playing as the Stalker in Duviri, clicking on any look-linked cosmetic will show them on the Stalker himself. Health and energy orbs dropped by Nova's passive will have small null stars orbiting them. When viewing the Chroma mini-boss in the Codex, it can be seen wielding a Dara and without its pelt. It's also in the Infested faction, which is some subtle foreshadowing. The Arbiter's Simulacrum scene has these MOA spawners that have no collision at all. Arrows from the lens can be intercepted and destroyed by enemy bullets. Remote observers can allow several line-of-sight restricted abilities to hit enemies even if they aren't in view of the Warframe itself. The relic in the Orbiter's Void Relic segment has radiant dots all the way around it, when normally the most you can get is 3. The Ostron Child at the start of Shrine Defense can be given several buffs, most notably Volt Speed, which I think is hilarious. The Bratton has several skins that use its old model instead of the more modern one. The Kunai Day of the Dead skin also show their old model, which is cool. If only we had a skin that used old Burst on, I miss that thing. This one is pretty specific, but if you have the Zato Noble animation set equipped and are in the secondary equip menu with no secondary actually equipped, then the camera will follow the Zato animation's pipe like it's a secondary, even violently clipping into the floor briefly. The color channels on the Mark I Paris are completely different than the regular Paris. Damage from bullet jumps count for the healing and overguard gain of Pack Leader. Ureli is immune to the nullifying conduits debuff and disruption if she's riding Marilena. Despite not being able to damage enemies tethered via Parasitic Link, Nidus can still build Incarnate Charge and melee combo count by attacking them. The mods Protect and Shelter use the same image on their mod card. This bush on this Earth Extraction tile has a really weird warping effect when you stand in it. In Holvania Central Mall, the balloons scattered around the stage can be popped by bullet jumping them. If you eat a Dargon pilot as Grendel, it'll rip them directly out of the Dargon. Even weirder, the Dargon will continue to fly around until the pilot is digested, which will then cause it to stop working. Nidus can skip the animation of his mutation meter filling up by entering and exiting the operator. The Tonkor's Precision Strike augment can trigger its reload speed bonus when hitting an ally. This includes the Ostron kid from earlier, by the way. If Grendel has any enemies in his stomach, he won't be able to free locked up Solaris or enter the Granum Void, as the game will tell him he still needs to kill all nearby enemies. Overguard blocks the vast majority of energy drains, but not the Weariness Curse from Defixios that are found in Dagus missions. Despite being a positive stat, lowering a weapon's recoil will show up as a red number when upgrading or rerolling a Riven, because it's still technically a lower number. Gara Prime's portrait seems to cut off her glass horns, especially the right one. When fighting the Amalgam Satyr enemy, the thigh of the right Moa leg on top of it counts as a weak point for charging Incarnans. Only the right one, and only the thigh. It's really weird. Near Aoi in the mall, you can find this computer that contains several leaked emails regarding online and the origins of the Technosite Coda. I won't show them here for spoiler reasons, but wait, I said I was going to spoil everything in this video. Above the TV in the back room is an Entradi coat of arms, and along the bottom is text in Tenno script, which translates to "No God above knowledge." The Afervon tank forces a stagger when it enters the boss arena, and this goes through the vast majority of sources of stagger immunity. Eleanor's tongue model is still present inside of her noggle. In the back room, if you look through this light on the mod console, you can still somehow see the screens of the CRT monitors behind it. The TVs on the Techrot all play the same commercials that can be seen on the backroom TV, and these ads continue to run even while the game is paused. If you interact with the TV to open the channel menu, but then press escape to close it, it'll just shut the TV off outright instead of leaving it on whatever channel you previously had selected. Thermian RPG rockets can go through these cracks on Therasite barricades, so make sure to aim for the concrete. In the Ambulus boss fight, Garuda can use her 1 to pounce on any downed Ambulus. What's weird is that, when an Ambulus is being taken away by a dropship, pouncing on it will take Garuda to where the Ambulus was originally downed. The speed of Nidus' first ability isn't affected by casting speed, but it can be ended early by hitting a wall, which makes gaining mutation stacks much faster. You can search for a Warframe by typing in their Protoframe name. If you open the ability screen while in a transformed state, like Grendel's Meatball for example, then the Warframe in the ability screen will also be in that transformed state. Volt's actual colors don't line up with what's in his row in the Tenno palette. The turret on the Skaldra APC can be hijacked if the gunner is killed, and it's actually really strong unlike Grineer Ramparts. If you convert a Kuva Larvaling on Earth, it'll steal resources from the very mission you spawned it in. When viewing the quest completion screen for Whispers in the Walls, Fibonacci is strangely absent from his tank. The preview for the Lloyd Sentinel Tail shows it being placed backwards. If the back room is set as your base of operations, you can't play Jade Shadows, with a unique prompt asking you to switch to the Orbiter or Drifter camp. Decoys can be buffed by Wisp motes, even firing their Lex faster. Tenet Diplos' arsenal icon shows 2 left-handed Diplos. I don't know if the weird and obscure part of this entry is the arsenal icon being weird, or the realization that the Diplos are asymmetrical, because I've genuinely never noticed that. Using either Eros emote with another player in the back room applies this weird screen filter. Cold procs spread by Shivering Contagion don't contribute to the stat count for Primary Frostbite. This window on Europa has no collision for gunfire, projectiles, or line of sight abilities, but it does block player and enemy movement. Kills with Amphors and Alchemy count towards the last gasp revive meter. The Sunika Kubro and Helminth Charger have the same preview when viewed in the Codex. Placing a waypoint and then opening the full-sized map will reveal that a map legend has been added. The mileage counter on the Atomocycle shows 1999 kilometers. Wait, mileage counter? Kilometers? I might be stupid. In this Corpus Outpost tile, you can find this hologram which depicts a large ship first seen in the original Dark Sector trailer. Holding S or backwards on the control stick will prevent you from doing a melee slam even if you're looking down at a steep enough angle to trigger one. Octavia's Mallet counts as an ally and can capture containers in the Valis bounty objective. personal life support capsules dropped by enemies in Hellscrub have a unique model. The Scaldra Dedicant is holding the Purgator in his right hand incorrectly. This lever and Narmer Fortuna can now trigger a replay of We All Live Together, because I guess DE will do everything that isn't just letting us go back to the good version of this place. The mixtapes that are used to spawn codas have randomized names, though they don't seem to have any relation to the name of the resulting coda. During the coda boss fight, operator mode is disabled during the stage phases. This is noted in the patch notes, but isn't communicated anywhere in-game, so I wanted to put it here to let you all know that it's not a bug and that's actually how it's supposed to work. When aiming down sight with Lizzie, the ability keys fire various energy waves that inflict different status effects. What's cool is that each one has different Holvanian text, which translates to either wither, crush, chill, or melt. Props to this user of Orokin Archive for translating these. Ash's teleport will rotate mobile defense objectives if he casts it on them. The doors that lead to spy vaults have a unique opening and closing animation. The spear from the Kuvra Tricarian doesn't do anything to players who haven't completed the second dream. The Enceladus node on Saturn has a unique and very dated sabotage mission where the player has to destroy various mining machines. It also has a higher chance to spawn this hangar tile, which isn't unique to this mission node, but it is fairly rare outside of it. Aura Worms have a melee attack, but it can only be seen when attacking other Aura Worms at the end of the Duviri Paradox quest. Wrathful Advance can't teleport through Frost Snow Globe, and if you try to teleport while inside of it, you just won't go anywhere. The original Tenno color palette is organized alphabetically, while subsequent Tenno palettes are organized by release order. Hey everyone, Editing Cool Kid here. I'm probably going to sound a little bit different because I'm adding this entry in post, but I noticed something while working on this video that bothers me so much that I have to say something about it, so consider this a kind of emergency last entry. When looking at the planetarium in the back room, it shows all of the planets out to Neptune, which makes sense, but Pluto was still considered a planet all the way up until 2006, so it should still be here. Literally unplayable. I'm going back to the orbiter. Alright, that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted entries, images, and videos for this episode. This wouldn't have been possible without your help. This also wouldn't have been possible without my wonderful YouTube members who support the channel. I also, of course, want to thank you for watching. I'm gonna be honest, I'm so tired of doing the whole like, subscribe, join the Discord thing. Like 5 of you are watching at this point. I don't care anymore. Here's a picture of my dog instead. Her name is Molly and she's old as hell.